This is not a guide on how to play D&D, just wanted to get that out of the way. No, this is a video on how to start playing D&D. The difference being is you may feel like there's too much to learn, there's so many books, there's 50 years of history here, there's movies, video games, dice, comics, spells, novels, there was a TV show, and there's even a cookbook. I'm Milkman, I've been playing D&D for 20 years, and I want you to play too. So in the next however many minutes or so, we're going to get you to a place where you feel like you can hop into a game. And I'm going to say this up front, it's okay not to feel confident in starting something new. That's why it's exciting! In a game of Dungeons & Dragons, players typically assume different roles to create a rich, interactive storytelling experience. You can pick up any of these roles straight away, you don't need any experience to do any of these. They are Dungeon Master. The DM kind of serves as a storyteller or referee. They create the world, control non-player characters, or NPCs, and guide the game in some form of narrative, be that from something they've written up themselves or a pre-made adventure. What the players might want to do, or from setting a challenge number and rolling a die to see what happens from it. The DM controls all of it. Player characters. These are the characters that are the players. They're controlled by the players, and then they use the assigned powers, abilities, and traits of their character to interact with the world and the story. Understanding these roles is crucial for a successful and enjoyable game of D&D. Okay, important note about rules. Write this down. Like, seriously, write this down. D&D has just gone through an edition change. Basically, over the past 50 years, there have been different editions or versions of D&D. These are rule changes, some to make things easier to play, some to make the game more like an MMO. Essentially, every edition updates the rules, and we are currently at the nose of the 2024 rules update, so the rules you learn now will likely be valid for the next decade or so. Second important note, current version of D&D, the 2024 update, is compatible with the 5th edition, the previous edition, so some players are calling the current edition of D&D 5.5. It's not a complete change, more like a software patch that gives you more options. That said, D&D can seem intimidating as it has 3 core rulebooks, about 300 to 400 pages each, with a lot of jargon, a ton of modules, and campaign guides. But you can play with this. It has the basic rules, has stat sheets, and an adventure for you and your friends to run through, but you don't even need this, which leads me into my next point. If you want to start playing D&D for literally nothing, you can download the free adventure Intro to Stormwreck Isle. You can get this from the D&D website. D&DBeyond also has a section on free rules where you can check rules based on specific categories and headings. And because dice are required to play, Google has a built-in dice system, or you can download a random number generator app for your phone. So that's the free way. Now back to this. This is one of my favorite D&D products. It's a starter set. There have been a few of these, and this one is from 2014, so the rules are still the old edition, 5th edition. However, there is a new one coming in September of this year, 2025, which will use the latest rules. I have the essential kits linked in the description below. And a quick note, if you want to grab this, even though it's the old rules, it's still worth it. The adventure in here, Lost Minds of Foundelver, is still seen as one of the greatest quests ever released by D&D. So if you can find it on sale somewhere, grab it. Starter sets come with basic rules, an adventure, a set of dice, and pre-generated characters. All you need to start playing in one little set. And trust me, there are countless games of D&D that have started from these sets that continue for years even now. Oh, and remember like a minute ago when I mentioned the free adventure Intro to Stormwreck Isle? That free adventure leads straight into this starter set. So if you like it and your players want to keep going with those characters, you can grab this set and keep the story going. Last little note on cost. I have to mention minis. You'll probably have seen these small mini figurines laid out on a table while people have been playing D&D. You do not need these or battle maps. These are more enthusiast level things. They're nice to haves, not must haves. So don't worry about that stuff till later. Right now, focus on learning the game. I mentioned the free dice, but I want to remind you that you can grab any dice set from your local game shop and they will work as well. Your players don't even need to own their own individual dice sets. Back in the day, the DM would roll everyone's dice for them, so you didn't even need one. What they really need is only a set of dice, but so long as it's got one of each of the set polyhedral dice that are required. So what is a D&D session experience actually like? Well, Except for specific plot-related or fight-related points, it's pretty social and chill. You say hi to everyone, recap what happened last session, establish what might happen this session. If it's a new campaign, set those rules too and boundaries. Or if you need to plan something intricate with your party members, that's what would happen in the session. The DM will establish the world around you, you decide what you want to do, the DM asks you to roll a dice for whichever skill or ability, and depending on your roll and stats, they tell you if you reach or beat the difficulty challenge after you calculate a bit of basic numbers. If you want to role play, you can do that, interact with the other players or the NPCs in your DM's world. You can go seek treasure or save a cat from a tree. That's it. That is D&D boiled down to its most basic form, but as the only limitation is your imagination, it can go wild. And at this point, I want to answer a question that a lot of people ask because they see people play D&D online or in movies or shows and they are using accents or different voices. You don't have to do that. You can speak as if you are your character. I, Miles Prowler, approach the barkeep and ask, "You, sir, I want a pint of your finest ale from the most established brewery in this realm. I hear the casks they use are lined with honey and twice-burned charcoal. This sounds like an experience. But don't you dare feed me a mug of foam. My tongue begs to be quenched." Or in the third person, my character approaches the barman and asks for a drink. Or something in between. Either is perfectly fine. The important thing to remember about D&D session, or D&D in total, is that there is a story, and you're all telling that story at the same time. I touched on this a little, but I want to talk specifically about the rules for a second. Looking from the outside in, it might feel like there are lots of rules. Like, for instance, these 3 books. This is easily 900 pages. Even just looking at the starter set, it might seem like there's a lot of rules. But honestly, you might need to check back to them maybe like 6 or 7 times in your first session. After that, so long as you're paying attention, you'll know stuff like the back of your hand, and once you get a grasp of the basics, especially for Dungeon Masters, it becomes very logical. Sadly, nobody can learn the game for you. You will have to just grab a book and read what you think is most relevant for you to know, and then once you have a few friends together, just look up what you need in those moments. Use these more like reference guides than studying them from cover to cover before you play. You learn the most relevant stuff when it comes up, and everything else you can just learn later. And it's worth reminding you, you're just learning this. Nobody expects you to know it all overnight. I'm going to take a minute or two to signpost a few creators here that I believe are worth your time to get started with. But before that, I also make guides on how to use monsters or iconic figures from D&D history in your game, so if you think this video has been helpful so far, why don't you give it a like? And if you want to see more of my stuff, maybe you could subscribe. You'll see more of my videos. Now, back to signposting. The first creator I want to signpost is particularly for new DMs. That's Matt Colville. His Running the Game series will get you playing D&D in less than 90 minutes. It's not a barrage of rules, he just covers the basics of an adventure, what are the goals of the session, and how we're going to do it.
Hi everybody, my name is Matt Colville, and as you can see, I am a white, middle-class, middle-aged nerd, and if you guessed, I bet that guy plays D&D, you would be correct. This is my channel, and it's about running Dungeons & Dragons. Here's the pitch. I want to turn you from someone who wants to play D&D into somebody who wants to run D&D. Being a Dungeon Master is fun, it's creative, and it's not that hard. But if you don't know how it's done, it seems intimidating.
Trust me, just watch the first couple videos of his Running the Game playlist and you'll want to dive right in. Next, we have the wonderful Jenny D. Jenny D will give you tools and tips for being a DM and a player. Tools, you say? What has D&D got to do with tools? Could you not? Well, that's why you should check out Jenny's channel. Not sure how to make a unique character for your players to speak to? She's got a tool for that. Your character has a really high intelligence score, but you don't? Well, she's got a tip for that too. Have a warlock, but not sure how to be their patron? She's got a video for that too. Her videos cover so many scenarios we find ourselves in when playing D&D that when you're stumped, she's got you covered. Bob World Builder. Bob is a great tabletop creator. His videos will expand your dive into the tabletop gaming world and just beyond just D&D. But just to bring this back to D&D, you should check out his breakdown videos. He goes in depth into the starter sets, showing you how to play them, but what I love from him is his campaign overviews. When I was prepping to run Reign with the Frost Maiden, these were amazing. It was like he was a little fae just sitting on your shoulder, mentioning stuff you might have glazed over that was actually really important. That's just my recommending starting 3 creators who I think will bridge the starting gap for you. There are many, many other creators out there who will fit your vibe, so if you have time, just throw some videos on and see who you click with most. You may have seen people play D&D online like Critical Role, Dimension 20, Acquisitions Incorporated, or Legends of Evantris. They play on Twitch or YouTube or other streaming sites, and these are known as actual plays. Actual plays are great because they have people playing as characters, going through adventures, and running the game. You basically get to sit in on a D&D session and learn from watching them play. If you're a visual or audio learner, these will help you so much. In general, you will be far more engaged in learning the rules because you are following a story rather than looking at a wall of text. Now, tone change here, because we need to do a little reality check. I bring actual plays up after the creators I would recommend learning from and about learning the rules, for 2 good reasons. 1, high expectations, and 2, homebrew. We'll talk about homebrew in a second, but high expectations has killed far too many games before their second session ever came up. You have to remember that the people in these actual plays that we watch online are oftentimes trained actors, improv experts, or skilled comedians. Not to mention they will likely know the rules like the back of their hands, so their games will flow a lot faster than yours. Coming back to Matt Colville for an ounce of wisdom here.
When you start off, you'll be terrible. I realize that's not the most encouraging thing to say, but the fact is your players will be new and they won't know you're terrible. That's the secret. If you play with your friends and none of you have ever played before, they will think you are amazing the way everyone thinks Matt and Chris are amazing. And after a while, you will be a great DM. And the thing is, it will be fun the entire time. It'll be fun while you're terrible at it, and it'll be fun while you're great at it.
Set your expectations with your players. Make sure that they are aware that your game won't be like the games you see online. Well, not yet, but trust me, you will get there. To homebrew. At the risk of bogging you down in jargon, homebrew is the name of when you use a non-official or variant rule, so something that might not be in the rulebooks but is widely used by players. Or it is in the rulebooks but people use it differently. Basically, be aware that you might think a rule goes this way because you've seen it online or you've seen another podcast use it that way, but actually in the rulebooks, it's completely different. And if you want a guide on breaking down the jargon in tabletop games, consider backing me on Patreon. I'm working on a book for beginners and intermediates alike that will explain all the terms that are used when it comes to D&D and other tabletop games. You back me on there, and once it's released, you'll get a free copy. So, of course there are always silly questions when starting something new, but if you don't ask, you don't learn, so I'm going to answer them for you here now. First up, no, you do not need to cosplay your character. That's something we do for fun later on. No, D&D isn't tied to the occult, though that would make it 10 times cooler. Yes, Tom Hanks' first lead role in a movie was in 1982's Mazes and Monsters, where he suffers a psychotic break and believes he is his cleric character. Surprisingly, it was for television release only. Will D&D be like Lord of the Rings? A lot of people who are new to D&D use Lord of the Rings as a comparison, which is kind of fair, although all campaigns usually tread the line between Monty Python and Lord of the Rings. That's because in reality we are human, we love a laugh, and we love to see our friends happy. But you will eventually grow to understand your character and how they feel, and you'll probably embody them more as you play. You don't need to rush into it, you'll eventually learn it. Folks, thank you for watching. I hope I've helped put your mind at ease when it comes to D&D. It's really fun to dive into. It's a really great game. As I said though, it is scary to start something new, but D&D is honestly the most fun you can have with your friends and keep your clothes on. If you do want to check out some of the cool historic figures from D&D and their stories, do check out my other videos, and I hope you subscribe to stick around for my next release. Have a great day, have fun, and take care.